17 point what? 1, and then a 15.4. Okay, so our baseline is going to be 17.
I got a 3.
The number 3?
Yeah.
Interesting. All
I
right.
just got a 3 too. I had like a 4.3 or something that came through.
Well, 843 is our area code down here. So you may have heard like a commercial with a phone number with 843, which I usually throw those out, and the word Charleston, just so you guys know. So I don't accept that anyway. So I want to explain Deb's device before we actually kind of move on. So this is measuring electricity in the air. Obviously, there's electrical wiring on stuff above us. It's not close enough to make these things go off, and none of the devices we're using are going to get off that kind of EMF. If you were to put that device behind your TV set while it's on, it's going to run about 40 to 60 milligauss. That kind of gives you an idea of how much it comes off with. Your running microwave heating up your food is going to be about 150 to 170. So the highest I've ever seen that device go has been 214, and it's been in this location, just so you know. I will also tell you that the average spike for this location is between 18 to 22. We've already had a 17.1. Now, that's why I'm telling her to escalate it. In the event we start hitting triple digits, I will tell you that 214 that I caught that night, because I was showing somebody how to use it a little bit further, I'm the one who saw it, we left like bad out of hell. Reason why, I have epilepsy. There's too much electricity in the air for a guy like me to handle. So to keep me safe, I got us out of there and gave them the answers to the questions later on. So again, that's why this is a safety measure. So I already kind of had a headache walking in here tonight. So it was kind of like, all right, I know the KP index is really high tonight. That's solar flares that reflect our EMF on the Earth. So I do keep track of all of that scientific garbage. So that way we can actually...
Soon.
Oh, look at that.
They want you to leave soon.
Yep, no, she does not. We're going to get into that too. So let's get into Missy's questions. So her death, how old? What did she die from? Where she's buried? What president was a pallbearer at her funeral? So those are the 4 majors that we get questions from. The number 3 that you have on there is very interesting, and I'll explain that before we leave the space. What's going to happen is I'm going to spread you guys out a little bit. I'm going to keep Brooke behind to show her how to use that Ouija board a little bit further. Please stay away from the 4 vehicles that we have in here. We're fortunate that we have most of the space to ourselves. Those cars belong to people that work down here. Sometimes they take their breaks in there and they will scare the shit out of you, just so you guys know. Somebody actually used to see a clown in the passenger seat on purpose because they figured out, it was freaking some of my people out a little bit. But yeah, cameras, please walk slowly. I'll bounce around with all of you, do 2 quick round robins, and then I'll bring us back here again to kind of show you how all the puzzles fit together, if we had any good puzzle pieces, and then give you all the answers and tell you about the next space. So please be respectful in this space. Eliza will get pissed if we're not respectful, just so you have that idea. Brooke, you're going to stay behind with me. Kenzie, if you want to hang out to kind of see how these devices work too, that's fine. But everybody else, let's spread out. Let's see what we can get out of it.
Sure.
Limitation. All right, so let's talk about the Ouija board guy first. I'm going to crank up the sensitivity on purpose. It's the little dial below the light.
Okay.
You don't need to worry about the other 2, so the middle and the right one for you. But if you're getting like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's too high. If you're getting every letter, you just want to scale it back counterclockwise by about a quarter turn. Your bottom row, I don't know what it looks like yet, but if it's full all the way across, you need to reset it because the letters will start overwriting itself and giving us false positives. So once they start overwriting themselves, you take this big dial. First off, do you have anything on there?
No.
Yeah, I got a bunch of nothing. So I'm going to actually turn it down, and it's basically turning it off, and then you go back up to 9 o'clock, and you'll get a nice fresh start. Every time we go into a new location, this is why I kind of gave Kenzie a nice easy camera, so she can kind of help you out with both of these. And also to hang out behind so you can see how to turn it off. But always get a fresh start whenever you're getting a whole robot. Really? I told you, most of that's going to be bullshit.
There was Saint earlier, but you said some of that was this program.
Yeah. The device I talked about on TV has about 2,000 films in it. This has 9,100.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot in there. That's why it's like just a giant brain bag. And you guys said this was both of your ideas to come out and do this?
Yeah, we thought it was fun.
Nice, good deal. So sometimes it's a daughter that's dragged because mom's been into this her whole life. So it's kind of like, I never know. But again, with this particular device, does it give us something every single night? Not necessarily. I want you to more focus on the work. It goes around tonight for sure.
We do go tours wherever we go. So like we've done it in Boston, we're up to New Orleans.
Yeah, but they're never like
but
this.
that's why we
just,
picked
walk
this one,
around
because it was different. So we're like, oh, it's different. Let's try that.
I will tell you, I'm the only guy in America that goes to the lengths of what we're doing tonight and gives you the data back. So I keep up with what all of the other interactive tours are doing, and they're charging you for the devices extra. You have to rent them, and they're cheap devices, that kind of thing. So again,
or you're watching your tour guide use them. That's not fair. I want you guys to experience things. That's why I give those spirit boxes out. That's why I give this stuff out. This is the stuff you guys are seeing on TV. This is what you need to use. But yeah, definitely have some fun with these. And again, your camera work, I'm not always going to follow up in real time. I don't need you to watch it because it's so small. When I give you the camera back, or when I the video back, that's when it's like, holy cow, look what he caught. Because I'll give you the markers and so you can go straight to it.
So Elijah.
Oh, it's very close and phonetic sound, isn't it, to Elijah? Oh, by the way, when I want to see the word list, and you guys can check it out too, so Kenzie, you might want to pay attention here. You hit the little white box to the next of it, and you can actually scroll through everything we've had so far. So you've already, I thought that said John for a second. It's not the right spelling, but it's join. But I'll just kind of take a quick look at it, or I'll ask you for the last 3 or 4 terms, but this is how you get to it.
Okay.
And then you just circle back. Good deal?
Okay.
Any other major questions?
That's it.
Yeah, the camera's super easy. That's a next day kind of thing.
Okay.
So,
Flip it around.
got it. All right, let me follow up with these spirit boxes, see what we got.
So how do you work the YouTube?
You just watch it. If anything comes up and makes sense.
So you're gonna get back to me? That's so funny, Mom.
Jack, what are we getting out of there, buddy?
And it has A and B's in it. That's kind of cool.
To turn it off.
Don't you say you turn it clockwise?
No, that's counterclockwise. That I turn off if it got
Testing.
full.
If it got full?
Yeah. No, I already know. You just click that.
Yeah, so click it. Okay.
Her camera can see those flashes. Kenzie, have you seen those flashes come through from her camera? Kind of pointed at us, just from the angle that you're at.
Oh, yeah.
That's the goal. But yeah.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and turn your camera now. You two should never face each other, because I won't be able to watch any of the video where it's just flashing with nothing
Okay.
there. Again, my point. The guy with the epilepsy can't watch all the flashes.
Yeah.
I'm really looking to see if I see that where there's no any.
Right.
No.
So when I make that, I usually point out, like when you guys were doing the demo at the beginning, like, hey, if there was a ghost. And we caught, and this is brand new. Like, we just got this 2 weeks ago. We've caught quite a few things where I'm like, holy cow. And it's interaction. It's not like, hey, there was a guy there for a split second. It was a, hey, dude, raise your right hand. Kind of stuff. Yeah. Really cool stuff.
There's just a lot of flashing, so I need to be slower and not looking for them.
Well, you should still always be looking up and so, yeah, it's not always staring at the screen. It's a matter of trying to figure out what's on the screen.
Did you get anything? Are you gonna keep asking me? You were supposed to, what are your initials?
What are your initials? I'm still color my jumpsuit on.
What's that?
Mine is
You see,
How does she color blank?
say what are your initials?
What are your initials?
What are your initials, lady? Mom? If I was a ghost, I think it'd be so fun to like talk to people like this. I'd be like, yo, what up?
Background white noise. Did you ever watch White Night?
Yes.
And remember,
I believe
Capri
that.
went to bed and her
Me and Faith couldn't
her
finish it. I was
walkie-
so scared.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Her walkie-talkies started going off in her closet that night, and she had like turned them off.
You should tell him that.
No, it was crazy.
No, you should tell him that. He'd be like, bruh.
Me holding the thing like that is hurting my wrist. You know my thing?
I feel like it's hard to video this parking lot. Why? Do you want me to hold one?
Hold that first. Just look at it.
What are your initials?
Isn't that how my
Yeah.
Brooke, how's our word list coming?
pretty good.
Anything crazy I need to know about?
Oh, testing dictate.
Oh, like OH?
OWE.
Oh.
OWE. Nothing that made sense on that. There was something that looked like Vasa.
It was like AV, AV, AV. And then what was the word on here that had an AV in it?
Evaluate.
Yeah. That's all we got.
I have the word dictate. It seemed pretty dark sound on it.
Surprise.
Yeah. Missy, you got anything coming out of there now? Missy? You got anything?
Some songs.
Like what? What kind of lyrics are you hearing?
Heads Carolina, Tales, whatever that.
California.
And then that crazy about my boo. What's that? That song. I don't know if it's who sings that?
Well, it's not about the who, it's about the what lyric did you hear?
Something I'm crazy about my boo.
Lost me on that one. Yeah, but between like the words dictate, he's got like why'd they go into the hole, killed them. Like there's a lot of like weird darker things going on here tonight than I normally see. Any other? What's the letters you have going on there now?
It's just all random.
And now that it's been huge M. And CP for Charles Pinckney is kind of vague, but it is still there.
41.7.
21?
41.
41.
Oh, wow.
Eliza, if you're here, we need something specific about you to know that it's you. I have Charles' initials show up. If it's Charles, you need to tell us which one it is by giving us a clue about you. Which Charles do we have here? You guys know how these boxes work that everybody's using. Just give them the answers. Just shout out whatever you guys are hearing.
I've heard no one twice.
Okay, that's a definite cue. Let's see if we can. How much? 19? Charles or Eliza?
Is BF mean anything?
I don't know. Is that what you just heard? Alright, I would say that's a yes, and there's somebody going to their car, so let's get out of their way. Let's all head to the back. So, those of you with video cameras, by all means, if you want to give your hands a break, go ahead and hit stop. And that way you can kind of relax. We're going to go over the
Will you hit
answers,
stop
but I'm also
for
going
me?
to tell you why I'm stopping this a little bit earlier. So first you need to know, like, I change
This
this up
button,
every
yeah.
single year. And
Did you say?
yeah.
She's so funny.
Holy cow. It's been a night, has it not? Holy cow. So, sorry I had to take you the long way around, but it's already been kind of a night, hasn't it? What have we heard along the way? Talk to me. What do we got? Check nothing? Did we wrap for like 10 minutes? No. Nothing? Nothing.
Mom, what did you
You know, like
get?
the wind beneath my wings keeps starting, like the beginning of it.
Okay.
Over and over.
What'd you get? Yeah, definitely don't point that at the other tour.
Oh,
Yeah, remember you can't point at people here.
okay, I'm
down
doing
there.
it right there.
Yeah, but they see you have a camera. They don't know where you're pointing it. That's the whole point. So
Okay.
again, if you have cameras, just don't point them at the other tours. Definitely let's get some footage while we're in here. I see that you're recording already, but I would just kind of steer up that direction because we never know where things are going to pop up anyway. We've caught orbs in this location before, and we have caught some weird anomalies with yours. So with the SLS, it's kind of difficult, just so you know, because there's a lot of foliage in here. But Missy, you didn't get anything else besides the wind beneath my wings intro?
I know. It's that intro to it. It just
Okay.
feels like it's.
So again, this location, when the other tourists start coming through here, we're not allowed to actually go all the way through this alley, so they're going to have to cut through us. We just kind of split the seas and let them pass through. I mean, don't stop recording, just kind of be very discreet and lower your cameras. And then I will stop talking, because again, we're telling the same story, but I'm giving you more details, because we're ghost hunting, not campfire marshmallow kind of stories. So let's kind of get into why we're here. This is Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city. Oh, by the way, what's the last couple of words that we've had? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Surprising gave, surprising gave maybe sober wrist Cameron.
Jumping over the water would have been a risk, I think. Probably would have broken ankle. But anyway, back to Duelers Alley. We called it that because this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. I say some because it was illegal at the time, and they had to find hiding spots. Again, we all tell the same story, so let's get into that. There was a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So Missy and Chuck, if you guys hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. It is part of the doctor's name. As far as the Ouija board device that Kenzie's now holding, we're looking for the initials RI for Rhode Island, and it'll make a lot more sense in here in just a minute why we get it. But anyway, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he is supposed to get married to his fiancée Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. He moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. He's going to start his practice here instead, make his own. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here. So there was a guy walking by that was seeing what was about to happen. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stopped there because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting RI all the time on the 2 red spirit boxes, so I bought the Ouija board device for this specific location. We've had that about 6 or 7 months now, and we've had it 5 or 6 times occur as I'm telling this part of the history. So kind of keep that in mind. It's on cue. I can't make it up. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street, where you can rent a room and you'll be safe and good to go. Dr. Ladd took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. So Amanda gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can get married. You see the gist of this. But Dr. Ladd became known as the whistling doctor because he whistled all the time. It's the 1780s. That's what men did when they were happy. It's cheesy and corny. What I will tell you is that every ghost story that comes down here tells you to listen for the whistles from the doctor, just like that. Now, every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. So just coming on their way down here. And that might have been my friend up there whistling for us because she's probably listening to us right now. But anyway, yeah, looks like they're going to come up through here. I'll stop talking once they approach. But keep in mind that we're using different kinds of tools. We don't have to listen to their own ears. We got 3 video cameras running, my voice recorder, and the 2 spirit boxes that we're listening to. We actually get the word listen right on there. So very interesting. So let's let them pass.
69.5.
69? Why? Are you kidding me?
68.
Is it steady?
Yeah.
And it's coming from something man-made. It's gotta be. If it's staying on 69 and 68.
68.9.
Is it still on there now? Yeah, it's gotta be coming.
691.
That's the temperature. You guys me all like, what in the world is giving out that kind of EMF? It's the top number. Alright,
Yes.
so we have gotten whistling parts of songs on Missy and Chuck's devices, so just kind of think of like moves like Jagger or Guns N' Roses' Patience. We've gotten that, the whistling melody of the song. But we've also had the word whistle show up, so kind of keep that in mind. You don't have to listen on your own, if you're getting my point. Back to Dr. Ladd and Ralph. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the way the hierarchy works. He gets better seats. So, on the way home one night from seeing Richard III, they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. They start arguing, and then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town, as I've already told you. He goes to his friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Let's settle this shit. Somebody's going to die. So they came down. They took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happens at a duel. But Ralph has his one bullet from his flintlock, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor doesn't die, but Ralph proved his point. He still ticked off, not willing to forgive. Dr. Ladd's friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember that he's a doctor and probably tried to bleed out this bullet wound himself. It's 1786. So bullet wounds are a lot different back in 1786 than they are today. So he probably just tried to bleed out the lead poisoning. So, like I said, every ghost story tells you to listen for the whistles. If you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through the alley, once you're not with me, because I can't take you all the way through because I've been kicked out of here, and I'm going to tell you why, because that's the fun part of the story. But anyway, turn on your voice recorders on your phone and listen to it later. See what kind of voices you get, but any kind of whistles that you get. But also keep in mind that every local knows this story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. Yes, that's Remy, if you guys were wondering. We're in his house right now. He will not bother you. Kenzie's like, I'm not filming the mouse. So here's how I got booted out of here. Here's the fun part. I told you that the alley, I can't take you all the way through at the end, but that's the reason why is because the alley didn't always go all the way through this way. So that's because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. There was a wall there in between us and Cumberland Street. So it kind of blocked in all of the livestock that was here. Now, this was before Dueler's Alley. They called it Cow Alley. That means that the bricks on the other side of this alley are sun-dried bricks from slave children. So there's a full handprint from a slave child down at the end, along with some fingerprint swipes. It's a pretty common thing around Charleston. I'd always, point it out because we all need to see how far we've come from slavery. I don't care about the diversity of my group. We all need to see it. However, everybody wants to treat that brick the same way, like they want to try to get something out of it. Like, I treat that brick just like I do a grave. That kid's not there. It's the last place you're going to find him. So, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 is huddled around this brick, waiting for something to happen with the tools I gave them. I'm trying to shoo them along because nothing's going to happen, and I'm trying to be respectful because it's outside the dining room window of the mansion at the end of the alley. So, I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't know I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. So the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. She thought it was hilarious. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work Thanksgivings because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart in higher management. You can see why I don't work on Thanksgiving ever again in my life. So the next day after that was November 28th. I called my partner that I had at the time, and I told him what happened about us getting kicked out of here, and the new owner kind of complaining. And he said, "You can't go down that far. You're only allowed to go down halfway, which is where that other tour was, or you got to reroute the group." So what I told my tour on that night was, I don't believe in this next story because I've never had anything happen there. I've had plenty of equipment there, and nothing's ever happened.
Just 2/3.
That's interesting. We just talked about slaves, but they were 3/5. Am I not mistaken, or was it a 2/3?
Homicide, construct, and 5.
When you were talking about the doctor, I got the word help, and then just a minute ago I got Uncle Frank.
We had the name Frank show up here the other day. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna look it up again.
I'll buy you flowers.
Flowers. I'll take that one. Let me explain. Oh, wait a minute. Let me finish with that. I got kicked out of here story. So again, I'm a pirate guy, not a vampire guy, not a pirate person. So the next story is obviously about pirates, in case you didn't catch on to that. But before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. So I was kind of like, all right. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. That's who we're going to be discussing next. So another person, once we got over there, heard the number 300. I don't know what it means. I write it down. I look it up the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So you guys were like, yeah, that makes sense. But I was like, damn it. Now I got to learn about pirates. I'm all about vampires. So my problem with pirates is I do have a master's degree in creative writing, which means I need facts and data to be able to look into what we're doing here. Pirate stories are made out of pirate lore. So I've read more damn books on pirates trying to debunk everything, trying to make sure like what we're finding is legit. So everything we're going to be discussing came from a minimum of 2 resources, and it's also a hit or miss location, which is why I expect to bleed over from here. So now I'm excited and tell you about something else. The flowers piece, the first thing, I think the 2/3, I can't remember if it was 2/3 or 3/5. That's
2/3.
For voting. So I got to look that up to remember like how slaves were counted as a vote, if that makes sense. I can't remember if it was 3/5 or 2/3. The flowers piece, I lived. We call that the Thomas Rose house. We either get the word flowers or rose here all the time. This is why I withhold information. So I'm going to definitely be writing down flowers, and then you heard health, and what was the other piece?
Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank. Who the hell is Uncle Frank? Does anybody here have an Uncle Frank that's passed away? Kenzie? Uncle Frank? Nobody? Nothing?
I have a Grandpa Frank.
Only
Great
Uncle
Grandpa
Frank I
Frank.
know is the hot sauce.
There you go.
I doubt it was the hot sauce that we're discussing here. So we actually have some. Normally I tell the story here and we move on. Is the only space so we could get the bleed over. You guys don't always usually give me a whole lot. Deb got all excited because she thought she had a 69 milligauss coming out of it, and it was the temperature.
Georgia. Georgia. I think that was
I don't know.
Georgia on my mind. This is Georgia.
Uncle Frank. I still don't know who the hell Uncle Frank
Does
is.
that say 100%?
But this is probably one of the most beautifully creepy places that we have here in Charleston. It's very picturesque. So if you're a picture taker, day or night, like this is to me one of my favorite places. It is always got the perfect lighting. My wife, her first degrees were in photography and graphic design, so we kind of know where all the hotspots are. But anyway, any other major questions or anything else you guys may have heard? Anything else on the Ouija board? We got RI on there at all?
Not together.
Separate. I always want those two, like when I'm giving you initials, I want them together to make sure they're in order. Alright, so we're going to be exiting the alley the same way that we came in. For those of you with video cameras, if you want to continue, looks like Jimmy wants to get us some decent footage of what the alley
You
looks
go
like.
down there and look at that.
If you want to continue
down to the
recording
garbage
with your
can and
camera,
come back.
you can. We're just going to stay out of the way of the other tours in that area. Again, we kind of find our own space and kind of work over there. Missy, anything else coming out of there? You're getting better at this.
A lot of snacks again.
Okay. Chuck, anything? Again, you can share an earbud. That way somebody can help you out. You guys just gotta walk very close together. They spread apart pretty good, so you just gotta pull out. There you go. That's gonna blow my mind. I always get confused on if it's 2/3 or 3/5 on a slave. They weren't counted as one total.
3/5 compromise.
June 12th. Did you get that? Did you hear that?
normally get the doctor's birthday down here, so that's not it. So we're right down here. Alright, so learn about crazy rated R pirates. Did anybody get my joke? Good.
The reason why, and then Fred.
Good. Anything coming out of you?
UCT. That's kind of like huck.
Felt like somebody's walking behind me.
Any words show up on the word list? Nothing at all?
Boot, right when we're leaving.
Boot? We'll take boot for a pirate term. It's loose, but it's there. I don't know where I wrote it down. It's doing it for me. Alright, so I bring us back here because, by the way, if you want to get your cameras running, you can. I bring us to the back of the lot because the other tours will come kind of pass through here. When they do, you guys get the point. You won't be filming them. But let's kind of get into why we're here. We're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. If you don't know what those are, they're basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, you can turn the turnbuckles and it will basically tighten the building up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I bring it up is because that's part of the reason why we're here. Those are the very first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. Surgery. That's because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We're here because this building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start her new life. So for those of you that watch the TV shows, you've seen where they use that teddy bear thing to like try to attract a child ghost. It's the same principle. It's a familiar building. We don't have any buildings this old. This would just be somewhere she would actually recognize. So let's get into it. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years. No, I'll answer for you. It's perfectly fine. But anyway, our story begins in 1708, and there's a lot of twists here, so try to follow me. I'll slow down on the twists. Young lady moves here from Ireland. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Yeah. So, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How this machine that they had to leave the country by boat to come here. Just pointing that out. The other gentlemen here that brought their spouses, I say, be good to your woman because she's going to keep you out of the main country. They landed in Georgetown, and that's between us and Orleans. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they at. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to sell anything from that plantation to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. It's being constructed during this time frame. So, take a step backwards to Ireland. They say Anne was a badass even back then. They say at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, none of these numbers are going to be perfectly exact. They say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. We've had the term servant, knife, and belly all show up on different devices without the other two people knowing what was being heard. So take that for what it's worth. Fast forward, the building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is pretty stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful and we're going to go through them all. First guy is James Bonny. Now you can kind of see where her name came from. Dad didn't approve. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married, and Cormac became Anne Bonny. However, James Bonny, her new husband, is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy, a coward. So this is not who she wants. A few years go by, and it's a very bad marriage, and she falls in love again. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you're wondering who this guy is. So, Calico Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it, but you can't put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? Wow, no raunchy thoughts at all? Come on.
They'd be raped.
It's bad luck. I was going to say, keep it simple. I stopped giving that question when there's kids involved, if you kind of get my point. But anyway, he makes a deal with her.
They say girls are bad luck on the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Remember?
They do.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. No, you're perfectly fine. You proved the point. I'm good with it. But anyway, he makes a deal. If you dress like a guy and look like my crew, you can be part of it. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So she gets it. It's a man's world, but she's a pirate. Let's go. We're all adults here. Let's put two and two together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and then they're going to vote Jack off the ship. like his captain. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has a baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happened to that child, by the way, and none of my research has ever found it.
Have the name Audrey.
Could be one of the kids. I have no idea. There's no proof of it anywhere, unfortunately. But she comes back dressed as a female as well. This makes Jack pretty angry. Now everybody's going to know that he let a girl on the ship. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured. They're down below deck. So we're on guy number 3, in case you lost track.
3-3. We got 3-3 this time. Like,
Remind me to write it down. So guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet flintlocks. Obviously, 2 ladies taking on a whole fleet of ships with 1 bullet flintlocks is not going to work out very well. And it's probably only because they didn't know how to use the cannons, but they've been pirates for very long. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her beau, Captain Calico Jack, and says, "Jack, I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot, by the way, on your spirit boxes. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried to hang Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. So, Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. They scream out to them, "We plead our bellies." The reason why is because you can't hang a pregnant woman during 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging until after the pregnancy. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money because he was an attorney back home. He brings Anne home, she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4 has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. And I say four lovers is because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know for sure. But again, we don't know much about her after her pirate career, so that's why it's a very abrupt ending. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in April of 1721 in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you that it was something simple like fever. I say we're talking pirates, let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? It's only nasty, bulky, and gross. So, a couple of things I left out of here on purpose. You heard Anne? Yeah, and you also heard Red earlier
I heard
too?
Anne Maiden.
You sure it was an Iron Maiden?
And I heard brother.
Brother. I don't know who there was no brother. So, the few things I left out, because all of you Spirit Box people know how to ask questions by now, and this is not a prominent Englishwoman, you can poke this bear a little bit to get some answers. First off, I always leave out the hair color of Anne Bonny, which is indeed red. So that's a simple one when people are struggling with their spirit boxes, so it's a 1-syllable answer and easy to capture. I also left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. So that's the father and the mistress on purpose. I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose and the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. So these are all things that we commonly get. You can ask anything you want to in here. It's free for all. Again, you guys know what you're doing. Just make sure they're not yes/no questions. If you get a direct answer, obviously let me know what you guys find. The biggest orb I've ever caught with your camera, Kenzie, has been up at that wall, and it was bigger than my head and intelligent. Came towards me, stopped, turned, and then moved up and disappeared in frame.
Because I was thinking about going over there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that was about a year ago, so kind of take that for what it's worth. There's other instances that occurred here. So Jamie, this wall behind me is not your friend. Remember, all leaves are in front of another, so you're going to get that jumbled mess. And of course, we got a big giant tour over through here. I think with your specific camera, it also likes to act up in here. It's very interesting the fact that those are the 2 devices that you guys
Gabriella.
We'll just see what happens. Sometimes
Why
we
is it all
get
girl
static
names?
snow over a person using a spirit box, and then it stops working.
You just hit a 40 on there.
What?
Yeah.
So we heard do not allow victims earlier.
That's an interesting
Also, didn't you say something about Calico?
Yeah, Calico Jack.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard Calico.
The word calico.
Yeah.
And you also had Anne. You had something else that came up too.
We had 3-3.
Red.
I had red written down already.
I'll walk over there.
Missy, did you get anything out of yours yet? And any words that I need to know about?
Gabriella.
That's definitely a possibility for one of the children's names. There's just no proof of it. That would be a term that they would use during those times. Not to mention, if any of those kids were of Spanish descent, that's definitely something that would have been used.
Let's walk over there.
All right, let's have some fun. Let's spread out. Let's do this. Wow, that's what we're going around us. Natural.
Ow.
Keep them out of our way.
My neck hurts so bad.
Getting you can't see it like my wrist.
Like my shoulder and my neck. I feel like holding on.
Question they're supposed to ask.
Just, what town in Ireland was the girl from? What was the mistress's name? Or the dad's name? What spouse did you love the most?
That's gooder. Kenzie, anything weird?
Not really.
It's probably the only space I follow up with this camera.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was nuts. And you guys will see that in
crazy.
your field guide. I did leave a
Okay.
field guide for you guys. But yeah, I was demonstrating lasers, and it literally came out of nowhere.
What the heck?
Yeah, stuff I just can't explain. So in here, initials obviously would be MR for Mary Reed, or AB for Ann Bonnie. I would want those specifically, or any other weird words being spelled out.
No, it's just kind of jumbled. They're accent captured. There's IR.
RI. Did you have captured? That's good. They did get captured, for sure. And can you tell us who you got captured by? So now you're looking for the words British, Navy,
Oh, that's my mother.
England, anything that obviously is of the Brits.
I just want to know who your favorite husband was.
Yeah. Come on, Anne, tell us.
Who was your favorite spouse?
Who was your favorite lover, Anne? And was that one girl a lover?
Wave.
Wave! Like at the ocean.
Oh.
Oh. Mom, remember that one picture you took at Andrew Jackson's house? Yeah. That was cool. Maybe you can show.
Well, for you guys, like I'm just doing a fun. So if I were to use all of this equipment on one of my investigations, I would really because I'm literally, I don't want to know all of it. I just want to know, like, hey, something happened. Whatever the high point is.
Ron?
And then
Or what if her lover's
I go
named
through all the
Ron?
media, take all of my notes. It's usually probably 20 to 30 pages, depending on what I find. And then I go and do my research.
Well, that's kind of crazy that it gave you a boy's name.
Where did I find it?
Maybe you can tell them that.
Density.
Well, it said wave and then Ron. Because we asked how he got captured and then we asked the favorite lover. Ron.
And there's ways to kind of skim that. So you software kind of look at the radio waves, but it should look like a bunch of like jumbled down on the same thing. So when I say spike, there's some hear me.
Disembowel? What does that even mean?
Take out your bowels.
Even when I find a disembodied voice for you guys, I'm going to chop them out and show you where the audio is kind of differentiates from on my radio station. So I could count 13 pulses. So it was long.
Is someone like, Mom, come here, come here.
So, and
Do you
that's
see the building like
stations
lighting
on
up?
the smooth speed that you're on.
Do you see it? Or is something just
I
flashing?
get nerdy with it.
Do you see anything that's flashing?
Any words, Brooke?
Yes, Kenzie and I asked who her favorite partner was.
Okay.
And then we got Ron, Density, and Disembowel.
Disembowel. Great.
Maybe Ron was one.
Where the hell's Ron? Anything out of you two? What do you got?
Give me a second. Her location, which is weird. It's the first place. I used to work at a company called Brooke. And that was the one and only ghost I've ever seen. So, yeah, it's hard to talk about this because I know who the ghost was. Like, I found out that, Precious?
Maybe that's the ghost from downstairs.
Ron, you're a jerk.
Well, so that we could more bodies for sales. And it was pink and yellow balloons. And I was in the back and there was a big trash can with pink and yellow balloons on the bed and it just happened. So I see this shadow of a girl that's I could tell it was a girl. So her mom
What is flashing?
I just heard her mom. Yes.
her mom works there. She goes to the zone. When her mom got to my apartment, we got to know each other, and I finally felt comfortable to tell her what I saw. My stories and whatever you want. And so I told her the story, and she read my picture. She said, "You did it."
Brooke, can I see your word list for me? I want to kind of thumb through it real quick, just to make sure there's nothing else.
Look, I put it on that part of the house, and it just like keeps lighting up. Do you see it?
No.
Like right there. It just keeps like.
Oh, like something's like a light.
Yeah, but is there any lights in over here that are like doing it? So there's not. Look. Hello. Look, is there anything shining on it?
Just that light over there.
I know, but it's not like actively like, you know what I mean? Cause look, I'll do it over to this one and it doesn't like flash. Whoa. You know what, I'm kind of lame. None of our dead relatives popped up on here.
No.
Not on the other side, Missy. Jamie, how's your video coming? Anything nuts?
Not getting anything.
Missy, you got
Uncle
anything?
Frank.
I'm gonna get some notes. Yeah. Alright, well let's get everybody.
Hell no.
And we're gonna wrap this one up. We got about 30 seconds. Can we get her over here?
I know, but it's doing it. Okay, we're gonna do it.
Fun.
Recording now.
Okay.
You guys figure out your blindfolds?
I'll forgive you. I mean, immediate no.
One reason for the blindfolds is this is called sensory deprivation. So, sensory deprivation, I don't want you to basically hear or see anything that we're doing. We're going to stay pretty close. So those little holes will go in your ears. We're going to stay pretty close to you and kind of keep everything nice and tight knit. couple of things. We're all gonna be a little close because we're gonna get everything on film for you, and that way nobody can see what we're actually doing. So I'm gonna have them huddle in really tight. So I'm gonna be asking a bunch of questions. You guys are gonna know the answers, so it's okay to ask or answer yes/no answers. So if you hear the answer yes or no coming through a spirit box, it's okay. Yeah, I'll take those wrappers by the way. So the other thing, I'm going to keep an eye on all three of your breathing to make sure nobody starts to hyperventilate. That has happened in the past. I don't want to try to scare anybody. Did you lose it? I don't. Hear it. Oh, make sure you guys are breathing okay. A couple of things you need to know. Your family members, if I say go ahead and tap them out, we're only going to keep them under for 10 minutes. So tapping you out, and meaning you take your blindfold and your own earmuffs off, that's a tap on the leg. And that's going to come from a family member, not me. I don't touch you guys. The other thing is, if you're talking too loud, family member will tap you on the shoulder. So again,
tap on the leg is out lead, the shoulder is out too loud.
Right. So remember when you guys are under, whisper. We can hear you. So we got neighbors nearby. We don't need you guys shouting. Like those are houses people live in. I do not take notes during this because I normally watch the video that Carla's going to be taking the entire time. So that way, in case something does pop up, I want to get all of the notes down for you.
So as we hear, we're...
Oh yeah, you're going to say out loud in real time. So again, remember to speak. Again, if you're not saying anything, I'm probably going to have to tap you out and remind you to tell us what you're hearing. So this is not easy. It's going to be interesting because Kenzie hasn't done any of this all night long, so she doesn't really know what to expect out of it. Have you used a spirit box before? No. Okay. So with that said, I also don't want you touching your spirit boxes. Well, yours, Kenzie, is already kind of preset on a volume. You can't mess with it, but these two know how to fluctuate the volume. I want to make sure that they're not cheating. Some people have done that.
Oh.
Yeah, and tried to hey, I'm giving them I'm giving them stupid questions out there like, hey, am I wearing yellow pants? And they'll say yellow. I'm like, yeah, you're cheating. So that kind of thing. Yeah, I think that about covers it. So, you guys ready for this? All right, everybody, let's huddle in nice and tight. Let's do blindfolds first, and then the earbuds will go in after that. Oh, God. And then family members, you're going to have to help them out with those ear muffs in case you can't get them on. So I'll take your camera for just a minute. Yeah, straight out. There you go. Nope. Yeah, they're a little flimsy. That's why I have a family member help out. Oh, Kenzie's going to use them?
Can you hear anything? Can you hear anything?
Nope, he can't hear you.
How will we
Perfect.
know when to start?
Whenever you start hearing things, just start talking. I keep you under for 10 minutes. So it's 11:12 right now, just so everybody has an idea.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Alright. Earbuds in.
Church.
Perfect. What'd I tell you guys? It starts to pop up already.
White.
White church. Right there.
Business.
Alright, let's huddle in nice and tight so nobody can see them.
Summer long.
Okay, Henry Timrod, I got 3 people listening to you tonight, sir. I need you to come through and start talking to us. Can you tell us what church that you've already mentioned, the white church across the street?
Still getting.
What's the name of the church across the street? We need the name of it. Kind of prove that you're here.
Love.
What's the name of the church across the street, Henry?
All day.
Your restoration.
Come on, Missy.
Body temperature drops.
Health profession.
Separate.
Okay, who do we actually have here with us?
Eddie.
Who's Eddie?
Murder.
Honest.
Henry?
Phil.
Henry, if you're here, give us a yes, please.
New.
9 a.m.
It's almost like it's going right down the road. Huey, Dewey, and Louie over here.
2 weeks.
Changes.
Who do we actually have here with us tonight? Can you please give us
Video
your first
online.
name?
Salt Blaze.
Here.
What is your first name?
Music.
Henry, can you tell us what we're hearing right now?
Could be signs.
Could be a sign. Tell us what we're hearing right now. What's coming out of the church?
The new.
We get the word bells on the Ouija board here. We've
Yeah.
had it twice now. She say Bill?
There's a problem.
Want to see
Shorter?
203.
Okay, Henry, let's get into some
Sometimes.
of the
There's a
nitty-gritty about your
problem.
family. Can you tell us what happened to your son, or something specific about your son? His name, his birthday, anything relative to your son.
There's like church music. Old.
Sorry, guys. You're good.
I don't think.
Very gratifying.
A lot of static.
Henry,
Station.
Henry, tell us something about your son, please. If this is a sign that you don't
This
want us
is
to
the
know,
Hollywood Fire.
3. 279.
The very best.
Tell me now.
do you want us to talk about your wife instead?
Haters.
Let's talk about your wife, Henry. Can you tell us your wife's name, or how you met her?
Calls me.
Henry was her school teacher, so everybody knows. She was
Am
only
I
16
dreaming?
when he met her.
I'm curious.
Henry, tell us about your wife, Katie.
Bad.
Stop her.
Can you tell us about your wife?
I'm just acting up.
She's pretty good at this.
We're
Should have had her
trying
with
to
it.
video it.
You'll have this video.
Photo.
Henry,
I'm in a good place without him.
I was just about to ask, can you tell us Katie's maiden
Bad
name,
place
please?
to be.
Katie's maiden name was
Getting
Goodwin.
better.
Was what?
Goodwin. And he said it's a good place to be.
Correlated to Billie Eilish.
He said I was born.
Billy.
Billy. But his name is Willie.
Willie.
Can you tell us anything specific about your wife, Katie, please?
There.
AutoZone.
Henry Timrod, can you tell us how you
Feel
died?
me.
How did you die, Henry
Sometimes.
Making.
No matter.
Timrod? You're obviously looking for the letters TB on there for tuberculosis. Henry, can you tell us
Feel like.
Occasion.
how you died?
The important things.
It's been 5 minutes, everybody, just so you know. This goes very fast.
If.
Rural country.
Henry, what are you best known for? Your writing?
I
Sooner.
can be the.
What do we call your last page?
Top.
Every once in a while.
Wait, call back. In a
Different
public
types.
place.
What do we call your last page that you wrote? We show it on display
Call.
every
I
year.
know that I'm back.
They show it on Halloween.
Even in
I
my
will say-
absence. Call Craig.
Henry, what do we call your last page that you wrote?
Probably. Sleep the day away. Generally, it never.
Wow, these two got quiet.
Live on Hulu.
It's not live on Hulu.
No,
Henry.
I don't want to.
Okay, so we won't talk about your last page. Henry, you had a very distinctive
Someplace.
piece of facial hair. Can you tell us what kind of facial hair you had?
And it's church
Some of their
music
body
again.
parts.
Just so you guys know.
Something.
Some of their body parts.
We've had the word lip show up when I've asked about
It
his
doesn't
mustache.
hurt.
Cash.
What kind of facial hair did you have?
Out of my head.
She just looks zoned
Yeah.
out.
Like
Professional.
Barb. Flip flop at above. Hi, my name is Ronald. Comfort.
Slave.
Slipknot.
Henry, tell us about your mustache.
My name is Ronald.
Urban.
Missy?
Letter to someone.
Oh,
They died.
who did you write a letter to?
Romeo.
Flavor.
Gone up.
Ray.
Who did you write a letter to?
Like
Wow, silence. Henry, give us something.
More church music.
We've asked a lot of questions.
It's crucial.
Tell us about the church. We'll make it simple tonight. Tell us about the church across the street. What's the name of it?
Through a blanket.
Betrayal.
Maybe Ronald's here.
Oh.
You had the name Ron earlier too, didn't you?
Dislike.
Yes, we did, actually.
Disport for a year.
Productive way.
Petco.
I don't know who the hell Ronald is.
Yes, we did have Ron.
I thought
Answer. Here's the
Wide
number.
for easy loading.
What's the number you want us to know, Henry?
279.
That was said earlier by somebody else.
The chosen ones.
Vaccine.
My ears. Ed titled.
Henry Timrod, we don't have much time left.
Shed.
We got about a minute. What do you want us to know? I've asked a lot of questions. Feel free to answer any of them.
Partial.
Yeah, you gave us partial answers. Didn't mean anything. Will. What else do you want to tell us? I asked a lot about the church and your son tonight.
Dream.
Tell me.
Protection.
Henry, one last chance.
Rock and roll music. I feel a baby.
Was your son a baby when he passed away?
There's no folk.
I
There
did.
isn't. We play
I missed what Missy said.
Somebody
low
laughed.
country.
Okay, Henry. I think we poked
An
the
hour
bear.
lies.
So I think I'm going to tap these folks out. I will see you tomorrow.
Because you know you're going to get.
All right, family members, tap their legs for me. Yeah, they jolt a little bit.
What does that mean?
Take off your headphones.
Everything off. All right, so first off, all three of you, don't get up. Don't move. This can be disorienting. How do you guys feel?
A little weird.
Dizzy?
Yeah, because you were jolting a little bit. You feel a little dizzy? Here's the other question. How long do you think you were under?
I don't
Not
even
long.
know. Not long.
Most people say it feels like 2 to 3 minutes. Is
yeah,
that about
I'd
accurate?
say like 3 minutes.
You were under for a full 10 minutes.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Missy, you feel the same way?
Yes.
So, Missy, you really didn't give us much.
No, it was a lot of static.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot.
That's the same with me. It was just.
Kenzie did phenomenal.
There was so much like rock and roller church music.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you
a lot
guys
of
both
church.
said church music around the same time, and we were actually asking about St. Michael's Church at the time. So
I
again,
heard
I don't.
something about church. I think I said that. Like,
Yeah,
at the
you said
beginning.
church.
Yeah, and then
Too.
at the beginning you said church and then the color white. That's a white church right across the street. I will normally look for the name Michael because that's St. Michael's Church, and then when the bells go off, which you guys can't hear, I will ask, what are we hearing right now, to our ghost, and normally the word, and we've had it twice now spelled out, bells on the Ouija board, or somebody will say bells. So we've had it in multiple formats. That's why I was having Brooke definitely keep an eye on both things. You guys are going to know the history that I told them until you guys get your data back. So that's the fun of this. So I'm going to call this unsuccessful unless the white church thing, I find more about that and the fact that you guys heard church things. Did you say the name Will at one point?
Oh, I don't.
Would have been just a few minutes ago, like towards the end. Like you kind of whispered it and I wasn't sure if you said the name Will or not.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Research Ronald.
Yeah, who the hell is Ronald? Because you said, hi, my name is Ronald, and we had the name Ron earlier.
I don't even remember saying that.
Yeah.
I wrote it down because
We
it
could
was
stop
funny.
that.